win reported over the weekend, one that shows when communities rally for a cause, or in this case against something, they can make a huge difference. Multinational corporation Wind Prospect has indefinitely delayed its controversial 90-turbine wind farm near Yass following fierce opposition from locals. It's also facing an insolvency process in Britain as it's forced to repay millions of dollars owed to creditors. We'll get to that in a moment. It was a sheep farmer, Emma Webb, who helped lead the charge on this issue. She's a trailblazer against what would have been a terrible eyesore for her community on the Southern Tablelands, not to mention the loss that affects us all of prime agricultural farming land. I'm pleased to say the warrior Emma joins me now. Well, I have to say, Emma, on the top of the program here, congratulations. It's a brilliant outcome for you. They're saying it's indefinitely delayed. They haven't scrapped it. So there's a fear, I guess, here that there's an element of uncertainty in that.
Hi, Peter. Yes, there's so much uncertainty. Projects put on ice like this can torment regional communities for years. They're called zombie projects, so they're not quite dead, but they're also not quite alive. And we can't trust wind prospects, so we can't relax. We can't get back to our normal lives. They could breathe life back into this project during our busiest time, during shearing or harvest or during a fire season. So it means that, despite this news, this project continues to have a huge mental health toll on our community. It's still sitting over our heads and there's no transparency or clarity as to what's going on. So the predatory behaviour of this company continues, and it's yet another demonstration of the power imbalance that exists between us and these big companies, these big corporations who are calling the shots.
Okay, so I know, you're a busy mum, you've got your farm to run, everyone in your community's dropped everything to throw themselves into it, like communities I was speaking to in January and February in the Mallee. So the diversion of your energy and resources and time and all this stuff to fight this stuff, all these commitments, to fight this stuff, I think it's unacceptable. I think it's really tough on farming communities. So the risk is that Wind Prospect could even sell their position in the market, could sell this offering on to someone else. And we know that so many of these wind farm companies are foreign owned. What's that like to have that hanging over your head? And what can government or the opposition or your local MP do to help you here?
Well, and you said it before, the amount of time that we've had to dedicate to fighting this project. So touching on that first, we estimate that in just the 4 months since this project was brought to our attention, we've had to invest over 4,000 hours of unpaid work into protecting our community. That's time stolen from our paid work and from our families, and stolen productivity from our region. That's farmers and local professionals and teachers and nurses who have had to commit huge unpaid resources and energy simply so that we as a community can participate fairly in something that has been imposed on us. And without this work, we cannot attempt to engage on equal footing with a well-resourced developer like Wind Prospect. And again, that's the power imbalance being exploited here. Wind Prospect is paid to push this project forward. Meanwhile, communities like ours have been forced to spend thousands of unpaid hours in resistance simply to protect our way of life.
Okay, but where's the government here? Because Wind Prospect, we know, is going through a creditor process in the United Kingdom. They're paying back millions and millions of dollars in debts. Why wouldn't our government say, with that sort of balance sheet, with that sort of risk, you're not going to operate in Australia. We're not going to throw good money after bad. You're not eligible for our subsidies. Pack up and go home.
Well, it really is a shocking example, isn't it, of a multinational corporation funneling money offshore, taking advantage of Australia's climate crisis, all to bail out a parent company that's in debt. So these developers make an array of grand promises to regional communities, but they may not be there in 5-10 years when a project gets off the ground, and there's absolutely no guarantee or certainty that they'll be there in 25 years when it comes time for decommissioning. So, our question as a regional community is, who is doing the due diligence in who we have to deal with here? The investors in our project, the Commonwealth Superannuation Corporation and Infratil, must either not know or not care that they are investing in a company that engages in unconscionable and predatory conduct, funneling money offshore at community expense, at taxpayer expense. You know, it's abundantly clear to us that Win Prospect does not have the interests of Australia or regional Australia at heart. It's always been about making money. And, you know, this is precisely what happens when there is no mandated requirement for companies to engage with communities in regional Australia in good faith, and they are given free rein to cause this harm.
Oh, Emma Webber, if you're not going to get into the parliament, I tell you what, I want you to get down to Canberra during question time or during a press conference and put some of those tough questions to Chris Bowen, because I think you'd have him for toast. Well, you'd have him for breakfast, but you'd have him on toast. You just do such an amazing job for your community. Thanks for joining me tonight, and please keep up the fight. You've got a friend in me. Is she fantastic?